Hey guys, we are in quarantine right now. We've been in quarantine for, it seems like, ever now. And so we wanted to bring you into our journey a little bit and show you some inside scoops of what we've been doing. So we went down to the lake the other day. We happen to live on a lake, so I took her on the boat and I talked to her about some of my childhood fishing experiences, and it was really fun, so check it out.
What are you doing next? Where to?
Let's jump on the boat. This is the Drew House boat, as you can see.
Yep.
I will untie you.
Should I get in first?
Yep. It's in neutral. This is on. There we go. Would you say that this is one of the most peaceful places that you've been?
This is our sanctuary.
I grew up fishing for like bass and trout and what else? Pike. I caught my first pike and it was like this big. It has like a skinny little nose, crazy teeth. I remember when I caught that pike being so happy because it was first of all, it was like as big as me.
Who would take you, Grandpa?
My grandpa would take me. Yeah. This is one of the most like peaceful places that I think.
I agree.
I didn't bring my phone, but I had some questions I wanted to ask you.
Really?
Yeah, just about being married. What's the best thing? What's the most rewarding thing about being married? What have you found to be most rewarding?
Well, the most rewarding thing about being married definitely is just the companionship I think that you get out of it. Like, the more that you work on it and you fight for it to be solid and you fight for it to be, it takes a lot of work, wouldn't you say? Like,
absolutely.
We've had to work hard on our relationship, and I think that pays off in a way where you just become so connected to each other and so close and so just solid with each other. And I mean, obviously you're my best friend. So I think that's like the biggest payoff, is you have a best friend that you get to just do everything with. So what would you say for you is the best thing about being married?
I think the security marriage gives you is that you make a covenant before God to love that person for better, for worse, in sickness and in health, which is something that you've done amazing for me. You were there when I was really struggling, and in this season where I feel like I'm the best place I've ever been, you and I are the closest we've ever been. And it's just really fun to just experience new things with you, travel with you, and yeah.
That was lovely.
Yeah.
I love that. What do you think has been the hardest thing about being married?
The hardest thing about being married for me has been, there's some similarities that you said. There's a lot of things that I needed to work on. Forgiveness things, jealousy things, insecurities that I didn't even realize I had until I chose to spend my life with you. Realized there was a lot of things, blind spots in my life that I didn't realize that I had, and that was really hard to work through those things. But I think when you choose to work through those things, they actually, I feel like now that I've worked through a lot of that stuff, you and I are closer than ever.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. How do you think you regained that trust and the confidence in me? Because at the time, there was so much hurt and there was so much pain. What got you through that? Was it your faith? Was it...
I think that one thing that's really important is that from the time where you and I weren't, ended and was not on good terms, I was on my own essentially. I didn't just like throw myself into a relationship or throw myself into something else to try to, like, I did other things to try to distract myself and forget, and like would talk to people or hang out with people, but I didn't, you know, I didn't search for like somebody to just come take your place and be in like another relationship and try to fill a void in that way. I really let myself feel the emotions that I was feeling. You know, it took a lot of it feels like grieving when you feel like you lose. It is grieving, actually. It doesn't feel like grieving. It is grieving when you
lose
feel
someone
like you lose someone that you really, really love and care about. And I just remember I was like, I cared about you so much that I was like, it doesn't even matter to me if he's in my life in like a romantic way. I just like care about him so much that I want him to, like, I want us to be in each other's lives and that be okay. And I think it actually, when I looked back on it, it was the best thing that we took time apart and had time to do our own thing. And I felt like I found my footing on, like, just as in my career and on my own and as a young adult. And I think that doing, like, I did a lot of work by myself and on my own before we got together. And then by the time that we got back together, I just felt like I had, like, experienced enough. I had, you know, met a lot of different people. I had hung out with different people. I had experienced other people where I was just like, yeah, I'm cool if I never, like, speak to another human again, like another guy again. It didn't matter to me. I felt like I knew what I wanted, and I was willing to. Oh, look, you're right.
Victoria.
Are we about to be in their path?
No, but we're gonna get some waves.
So I think before we got together, I had a lot of doubt because I was like, I don't even know what was just happening in your life. I was a little confused. And, you know, once we started hanging out again, you know, I had obviously, we have a lot of mutual friends, right? We had a lot of mutual friends, and, you know, they would tell me that you know, were really working on yourself, and you were doing really well, and, you know, that they had been, you know, really impressed by how you were living your life, and, you know, you were trying to keep to yourself, and, you know, you weren't on any, like, if I am allowed to say this, you weren't on any, like, anymore.
I think just forgiveness too. I think there was a lot of forgiveness that you needed to you know, have towards me, and vice versa. You know, we both had made mistakes, and you know, I think when we understand how much God's forgiven us and given us grace, it gives us the ability to give each other grace. Would you not agree?
I totally agree. And I think just to add on to that, in a way, when they're, like, be able to forgive, I feel like people will say to me, like, or comment and, like, on the internet and stuff, and be like, well, he did this, or he was with this person or that person or whatever, and it's just like, you have to step into security, especially as a wife, to be like, I'm aware of everything you're saying, and I'm aware of.
Yeah, but how does that happen? People without an anchor that just try and do that, they're gonna fail every time.
Right, and I think that's where forgiveness is the biggest thing, is that you take a person with all of their mistakes and all of their faults and all of the decisions.
But how do you forgive someone who doesn't deserve to be forgiven?
Because we know that we were forgiven first.
Really, did you have a good time?
Yeah, I did.
Will you remember that for the rest of your life? I love you, babe.